Welcome to the Village of Bartlett Committee of the Whole meeting for September 6, 2016. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Ahrens?
Here.
Kammerer?
Here.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Daney?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Ranke?
Here.
President Wallace?
Here. The first item we have on our agenda this evening on the Committee of the Whole meeting is Planning and Zoning Committee. Chairman Ranke.
Thank you, Mr. President. One item, 929 Rosewood Court, which is petition 1607, Polorecki. Jim, can you give us some details on this?
We'll go very fast because Mrs. Polorecki has been waiting for a long time and she is recovering from some surgery, so she's in a little bit of pain. Essentially, her house is at 929 Rosewood Court. What they had done is constructed what I'll call an accessory structure on the back of their property. They had previously received the variance for a room addition, which is to the left of the structure that's under construction back in 2007. They are now requesting a variance for, under our accessory structure section of the ordinance, to reduce the distance an accessory structure is allowed to be from the primary structure. This unit that is in, well, this is a better picture. The unit on the right is not attached to the home. It is built on an existing patio and separated from this addition and this section of the home. The building department had discovered this as due to a complaint that was received by a resident in the area. The petitioner was informed by the Community Development and Building Department it did not meet the accessory structure setback. The stop work order was put on the project, and the petitioner had to gain their relief. They had to apply for a variance. It went to the Zoning Board of Appeals on August 4th. They recommended approval, and then it is before you prior to moving it on to a vote. Mrs. Polorecki is here. There's a list of other accessory structure petitions for building separation that have been approved or denied over the last number of years. So I'll try to answer any questions you have.
Okay, so I have a number of questions. The report indicates that the petitioners received a 3-foot variance back in 2007. Just to put a very fine point on that, when you say the petitioners, you mean the same owners?
Yes.
Okay. For that addition on the left side of the picture that you're depicting?
This one, correct.
So do you have any photographs that show how the proposed accessory structure touches the house?
There's some that show how close it is.
Okay.
This eave does not touch this roof. There is this actual separation in here. And then on the rear, I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually this is the main house on the right, and there's a separation in here.
This shows. Well,
yeah.
I've looked at those photos, and to me, what's the distinction between an accessory structure and an addition for a petitioner that has already secured an addition?
Just to answer that, the difference is that if it was an addition, it would have to have a full 42-inch deep frost wall footing underneath the perimeter of this, and then obviously attached to
10 feet away.
Right.
Right. And this was done without a building permit.
Correct.
But if I'm reading it correctly, there was a concrete slab there already.
That's right. There was a slab there.
Now, do we know anything about that concrete slab? How thick it is?
I don't know the exact thickness, but in your notes and in your packet, their architect that they hired, who provided testimony, had asked or had stated that he would like to see the piers put underneath the corners of this accessory structure, and it may be showing in some of the the building plans, but that was something that he testified at the hearing.
I mean, I always want to be in favor of the homeowners, using their property. And, I appreciate the fact that they got the variance back in 2007, but now we've got the structure built without a permit. It's kind of a mess. When it comes to the full board, I'd like to see more photos of how this thing is actually connected to the house. And I want to make sure that we are actually talking about an accessory structure, because it doesn't look like an accessory structure to me. It doesn't look like an accessory structure. I mean, it's not like somebody took a shed and bumped it up against the back of their house.
The only thing I can point to of what we have, and certainly we can take more pictures, is in the floor plans. The architect drew some of those piers, and he shows the separation from the patio to the house. It's kind of outlined in yellow there. But I visited it, Brian visited it, and it isn't, and one of the planners, it's not connected to the house from a structural standpoint at all.
But from the photos,
It looks like it, but, I mean, I guess we'd have to take photos of going up, looking through the gaps in there.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board? All right, so hearing none, we'll move this matter along to the village board for discussion. I'm sure Brian would note that the burden of proof is on the applicant to prove the hardship for the variance. So I would definitely like to see more photos and have an understanding of what's going on here.
We'll definitely
it
take
seems
more.
disingenuous to me, frankly.
We'll go and
looking at
take
an
more
accessory
photos.
structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mr. President, it sounds like that's all we have for planning and zoning this evening.
Yeah, I agree with Trustee Ranky. I need to see some more on that. Anyone else have any comments before I close out our committee of the whole meeting?
I hope you feel better, though. I really do. And I recognize, that there seems to be a medical element to this. It's just I worry about, what happens with the rest of the village and, people building stuff without a permit. And
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We'll be moving directly adjourning into executive session to discuss pending or imminent litigation pursuant to Section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Aaron, seconded by Trustee Daney. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aaron's?
Yes.
Cammer?
yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yeah.